The Heresy of Paraphrase by Cleanth is one of the important essays of the New Criticism movement. In this essay, Brooks presents a strong and clear argument about how poetry should be understood. His main idea is that the meaning of a poem cannot be separated from its form and structure. When we try to summarize or paraphrase a poem into simple prose, we destroy what makes the poem meaningful. That is why he calls paraphrase a heresy, a serious mistake that goes against the true nature of poetry. Brooks strongly criticizes the common practice of explaining poems by reducing them to a theme, moral, or message. He believes that many critics and teachers treat poems as if they are containers holding ideas that can be taken out and explained in plain language. This approach misunderstands poetry. A poem does not exist to deliver a simple idea, it creates a rich and complex experience through its language, structure, rhythm, and imagery. When this experience is reduced to a summary, the poem loses its depth and power. At the center of Brooks's argument is the idea of organic unity. He believes that form and content in poetry are inseparable. A poem is not an idea dressed up with poetic language, rather, the language itself creates the meaning. Elements such as metaphor, irony, paradox, rhythm, and tone are not decorations added to an idea, they are the idea. Every part of a poem works together to produce meaning. If one word is changed or if the rhythm or tone is altered, the meaning of the poem also changes. Even if the general idea seems the same, the poetic meaning is no longer intact. Brooks explains that a poem should not be treated like a simple statement or argument. If a poem's meaning could be fully expressed in one sentence, then the poem itself would be unnecessary. For example, if John Donne's poem The Canonization were reduced to the statement that love is spiritual and more important than worldly matters, then the poem would lose its purpose. Brooks argues that true meaning of the poem lies in how Donne presents his idea. Donne uses legal language, irony, and striking paradoxes, such as turning lovers into saints. These elements create tension and complexity. The meaning is found in the way the poem develops, not in a final summary. Irony and paradox are especially important in Brooks's understanding of poetry. He believes that poetry has a unique power to express complex and conflicting truths, something that ordinary prose cannot easily do. Irony allows a poem to say one thing while suggesting something more or something different. It protects the poem from being taken too literally or too simply. Without irony, a poem's meaning becomes flat and ordinary, like a common statement or proverb. Paradox is equally important because human experience itself is often contradictory. Poetry reflects this reality by bringing opposite ideas together. When a poem speaks about life through death or joy through suffering, it forces the reader to hold two opposing ideas at the same time. This tension creates a deeper understanding that cannot be easily translated into plain language. Prose usually tries to resolve contradictions, but poetry allows them to exist together. Paraphrasing a poem causes several serious problems. First, it reduces the poem's rich and complex structure into an oversimplified idea. Second, it replaces the actual experience of reading the poem with an abstract explanation. The reader no longer engages with the sounds, images, and rhythms that give the poem its power. Third, paraphrase ignores the emotional and tonal qualities of the poem. Feelings such as wonder, fear, sadness, or joy are created through language and rhythm, not just through ideas. When a poem is summarized, these emotional qualities are lost. Finally, paraphrasing treats poetry as if it were philosophy or moral teaching rather than an art form meant to create a complete and unified experience. Brooke also changes how we think about the role of the critic and the reader. Critics should not try to explain what a poem means in simple terms. They should show how the poem creates meaning. This involves closely examining the poem's structure, language, imagery, irony, and rhythm. The focus should be on the poem itself, not on the poet's life or the historical background, though Brooks does not completely reject context. For him, the poem should be treated as an independent and complete work of art.